Hello, everyone. First of all, I want to thank you for being here. I'm very happy to give you this presentation. My name is Gizem Baykal. I'm working for Page Group for more than 7 years now. And I started in our Turkey office and then I was transferred to here 4 years ago. So I'm kind of an expat here for the last 3.5, 4 years, let's say. And today I will be giving you about like some information about Barcelona job market, and as well some information about how to prepare yourself for interviews, etc. So to start with, I want to explain a bit about our own organization, just to tell you why we are eligible to give this presentation. As you know, as you may know, we are a recruitment consultancy that we give recruitment services to other companies, and we do it in 25 different specializations, and we have more than 7,000 employees. And here it's 36, but actually we have 37 different countries now that the Philippines just launched. And we like to tell that in 2020, even though there was like some um, obstacles with COVID situation, we actually changed 45,000 lives, which we actually found 45,000 jobs for different people. And well, in general, that's kind of like our company. And this is our famous triangle that we like to explain a bit, because also it will be relevant for other slides that I'll be explaining. So for example, page group is um, consisting of four main brands, which is Page Personal, Michael Page, Page Executive, and Page Outsourcing. So in the future, or maybe in the past, you have reached us. It depends on which brand that you reach is quite important. Why? Because in Page Personal, we are more focusing on manager and below manager level of recruitment. In Michael Page, it's more mid-management, director level, and etc. And in Page Executive, is executive level. And in Page Outsourcing, it's more mass recruitment, like more than 10, 20 people at the same time, that once a company is asking us to recruit kind of like mass recruitment. So the difference, I mean, the important case here is that I will be telling you in the later on in the slides that, for example, most of the languages that I'll be talking about, it will be under Page Personal brand. So why is this? Because once you switch to a manager level, a director level, languages will not be affecting that much of the job market, because English, especially in Barcelona, English will be sufficient. But I will be talking about it more in detail later. So these are our specialized areas, especially in Barcelona. So once you reach out to Page Group, let's say, you make sure that you reach out to the right consultant, because all the departments here, like in sales and marketing, in finance, there are maybe 7, 10 consultants working. And you, for example, sometimes you're writing us on LinkedIn, we try to contact you with the right consultant, but it's important that you should find your own sector in our website and reach out to those consultants. And every time you apply to a job from our website, you will find the name of the consultant who is responsible at the end of the job post. In my case, I'm right here. I'm more in the shared service centers, which I will explain what it is in case some of you don't know. But it's basically international recruitment that I'm been doing for the last 4 years in Barcelona. And then, of course, we have a really big team for finance, and as well, engineering, healthcare and life sciences, and IT, of course. Okay, I'm moving forward. So I'll be talking about first international recruitment in Barcelona. So if we talk about languages, which I mentioned in the previous slide, that these are usually junior manager and below junior manager of profiles that in Barcelona, French is quite demanded. And why is that? Because of course we are neighbors, and also most of the companies they work from here for French market, and they bring, as I mentioned, their shared service center, finance hubs, let's say, and then they work from Spain for France. Of course, for Germany, for Italy, for Portugal as well, but mainly French, I would say. If I have to choose one language, French is the most common one. And then, of course, apart from finance, there are many opportunities in IT, like positions like support desk, help desk, etc. Like for beginner IT profiles, let's say, and then HR for recruiter roles mainly. And for business development, account managers, of course, it's a bit more like sales, not support functions, but more sales areas in even in the higher level, operation managers, regional sales managers. I mean, languages are important in Michael Page brand, a bit more senior brand that we have when you're responsible from one region, or when you're giving support to, it could be a DACH region that they might require German, or southern region they might require Spanish, Portuguese, or any other languages. In the southern region, of course, operation managers and so on, that, for example, Amazon has a lot here. I mean, there are very big companies. I will give some names later. And that's kind of like the French part of what we know. And again, the second language, if I have to choose, would be German. It's quite demanded because German in general is a big market in Europe, and it's one of the most difficult language to source candidates, because there are a lot of German speakers. I mean, I'm talking about German French speakers, not nationalities, just to be clear there. For German speakers, it's quite common as well, especially in finance and customer service roles. Again, for junior profiles, not Michael Page level. So if I if I have to continue that, the other languages, again, neighbors, Portuguese, Italian, well, Dutch also, like it's quite common, and native English. It's quite important, and it's quite common question coming from our candidates, that most of the time they're asking us if Spanish will be required, or even Catalan for Barcelona. In my area, I've been, let's say, I'm working on 10 to 12 positions every month. And then I'm managing a team of 5 people that they also have their own roles, like they are managing, let's say, another 10 roles each. And none of them, maybe like one, I mean, 1 out of 10 requires Spanish. The rest, we only need one language: Dutch, Portuguese, Italian, German, and of course English. Why is that? Because you'll be giving support. Of course, living in Spain, you will need Spanish, but you will be giving support to another country that will be giving you, giving you the flexibility not to know any Spanish. So it's an important question when you want to apply also from abroad. Don't um, not apply just because you don't speak Spanish. It's really, really important. We want to sometimes publish our ads writing there like Spanish not required, but then also like it's sometimes, it's still like sometimes we do it, but sometimes that it might be misunderstood and so on. But in general, go for it if you're not speaking Spanish. So yeah, Portuguese, again, account and sales managers, I would say. Customer service, call center roles, quite common in Barcelona. And then, of course, if you have language combinations, it's very valuable here. Let's say French and Dutch in the like Flemish region of Belgium, or German and French, that you're from Switzerland or Swiss German. These are like unique languages that demanded quite a lot in finance, IT, marketing roles. I mean, I would say marketing roles, we are usually looking for German speakers also. And in IT positions, now I'll tell you more in detail. English is enough because in IT, technical background it comes first there. And for Nordic languages, of course, I mean, it depends. There are many companies in Barcelona that they are giving support sometimes to European scope, sometimes to global rollout. So it depends which country. But of course, there are sometimes Arabic, Turkish, Japanese, a bit more non-EU countries that are demanded also in terms of languages. But of course, here we are talking a bit more general language requirements. So I just wanted to write them here to mention. But mainly these languages are demanded. So if we pass to the sectors, yeah, I was saying SSC, just to explain you what is a shared service center, in case some of you don't know it. It's centralized support functions of certain companies. Like, for example, we have our own shared service center here in Barcelona as well. And I'm also giving them internal recruitment services. So I'm here both as a consultant, also an internal HR. So in shared service centers, what they do, they bring their finance departments, could be also marketing, business technology, HR, talent development for European EMEA region to a certain country. Sometimes it's Barcelona, sometimes it's Portugal, sometimes it's Poland in Europe, that really, really popular countries. And what they do is they give support with the native speakers. They give support from Barcelona for rest of Europe. So what we do, we hire French speakers, we hire German speakers, German financial controllers, French accountants to work from Barcelona for those countries. So it's quite common, and in Barcelona, it's getting more and more popular. We are also working with a lot of companies who want to open their shared service center here. So it's when you're looking for doing a job search, you can look for these keywords: shared service center, SSC, or it could be BPO, or Center of Excellence, or GBS. So these are important keywords you can look for if you're a non-Spanish speaker, especially. And then what else? Call centers, customer service, and service desk support. It's also really common in Barcelona. But in these areas, call center, customer service, you will find a bit more junior positions, more like entry level. But in shared service centers, you can find more variety. If they have their marketing departments here, you can find marketing positions. You can find digital managers, and digital analysts. In our case, sometimes we are like in our shared service center, for example, we have business technology here also. So we are looking for all kinds of like product managers, project managers, and any high level Michael Page, even I say Page executive level of recruitment also we can find. And of course, apart from shared service centers, there are IT and digital hubs. Like it's quite common that these sectors that they open their kind of hubs in Barcelona, and in these roles, English speakers are more than enough if the backgrounds are relevant. So if you have an IT and digital background, if you want to look for a job in Barcelona, you don't need to, most of the time, you don't need to know Spanish or Catalan. And another area is supply chain. For example, Amazon has their supply chain here. Firmenich has it. Like it's quite popular area for languages and looking for talent with languages. I would say this sector is also important. So I move on. All right, type of companies. So here I would say there are two types of companies. You should either target big organizations that I mentioned if they have an international hub here, could be a SSE, or if they have an IT hub here, that will be a very good option to look for a job. And then in terms of smaller companies, there are a lot of startups in Spain, in Barcelona, especially IT startups. And in these startups, for example, um, in a sales position could be even in IT startups, they need a sales team. And from Barcelona, they are boosting for Europe. So they are what they do is basically they hire German, French, or Turkish, or all the languages depending on which markets they will serve. Of course, they're hiring for Barcelona, and then the salaries are better. They are better paid. You can find space to grow. You can find more opportunities to promote, because in startups the atmosphere is more dynamic, and if it's the right sector, you would grow quite a lot, especially like even um, in these corona times, COVID-19 effects, impacts, and so on. So that's also quite important, I would say. So moving on, here I wrote some salary benchmarks. These are really generalized because as you see, there are no experiences, so we don't know what's the experience level of this accountant that speaks German. But as you see, I don't know if any of you are probably you're all coming from different countries, but in Europe, Barcelona, in terms of salary, is quite low when you compare it to France, to Germany. Of course, Switzerland is another world, but it would be in the same level, I would say, again with Poland and also with Portugal. In Poland and Portugal, salaries are even lower. Um, I mean, the reason for that is I think the cost of living is quite low as well. I mean, there are some websites that you can check the cost of living in your home country, home city, and Barcelona. So I would suggest, like, before moving here, you can do that to set a salary in your head, because in the interview, everyone, I mean, either the recruiter or the in-house HR will ask you your salary expectations. And if you're coming from abroad, you don't want to tell them you don't know, because then you would look a bit that you are not prepared, you haven't kind of like done your homework. So if you tell them that, yeah, I did some digging, and then the salaries are, we have also these salary benchmarks in our website, so you can check it more detailed there. But if you tell them like, look, I did some cost of living comparisons, and as well I checked the salary benchmarks, and I believe this should be the range I should be looking for. But of course, I'm open for your suggestions. That would be the kind of perfect answer for that. So yeah, this is also important for the in interview preparation, but then we are coming to that later. So moving on. Um, by the way, I'm seeing some questions. I will answer them at the end. That's what I've been told. So for the interview advice, I think it's quite important before even the interview to talk a little bit about the resumes, the CVs. So the resume is the first thing the HR or the recruiter or the consultant is seeing. So you have to make sure, first of all, if you're applying to a certain job, you have to make sure that your resume is answering to that job post, because there are a lot of keywords that you can add to your CV, that you can sometimes be a bit flexible in terms of the titles that you're using. I mean, it's, of course, when you explain your job description, it gives a lot of information, but you have to put there the right wordings also, and especially for the recruiters to identify you, because what we do when we do the search, apart from you applying, when we also look for you in among the applications, well, we check keywords. We check maybe the level of experience. We check the, I mean, of course, when you open a good CV with a very well structured, it's different than another format that, for example, everybody is using, and then you have some typos on it and so on. So it's really very important to have a good CV regardless of your experience level. You can be a very junior profile, or you can be a very senior, could be a general manager or director. So it's very important. So you have your CV ready. And also another point here that's important, especially for IT profiles, the first time your CV goes to the recruiter or to the HR. So these people, they don't know, they are not, they don't have IT backgrounds. Of course, some of them are IT recruiters, but nevertheless, they don't work as an IT professional. So you should also make sure that you're explaining in your CV your skills, and then your experiences and etc. In a correct and in an organized way, so that it would make sense to them a little bit. Otherwise, you have to help them to understand your CV, to be able to pick and to be able to well, I mean, be able to be in the process of the recruitments. So let's switch to the interview advice. This slide is about what you have to do before interview. So research. As it says here, it's quite crucial. You have to know the company you're interviewing. You have to know what they are doing. You have to know why you want that company. You have to know what you can change about that company, what you can add, and why you can be a good asset to that company. And of course, this will be as well showing you your willingness for the job, your interest, but you should be very well prepared. You can check the interviewer on LinkedIn, add that person on LinkedIn and check that person's background. It wouldn't be a stalking, it would be actually a good preparation that even that person sees it, it would be a positive impact on him or her. And well, social media, of course, now it's not like in the past that we have access to everything. So I would like to say, especially on LinkedIn, you should make sure that your LinkedIn is up to date, and you have, because we are using LinkedIn a lot. It's always open on my computer, and every time I'm checking one resume, I'm also checking the LinkedIn account just to see if that's matching, if that's all good, and if that's well structured and everything. And on LinkedIn, many of you don't have your languages there, and it's difficult for us to identify you. If you have language skills, put them on LinkedIn. There are a lot of options. Also, like if you even speaking B2 level, like upper intermediate, intermediate level, put those languages on LinkedIn. We will find you easier. And dress to impress. Of course, the attire, I would say it depends on which company that you are going. For example, there are a lot of IT startups that they are not actually applying formal attire, that they are more jeans and more casual. But I would say in any case, go to, even though you are going to a really informal office, go smart casual. Be at least just provide the minimum that might have been expected from you. Practice. It's important, of course. Take your time to stand in front of a mirror, it says. I mean, in my case, the more I practice, the more excited I get. So I prefer to just dive in there and be myself. But of course, if you like to practice, I would say go over your resume and make sure you know when you left your job like 5 years ago, why you left that job, why you changed it. And it's really important that you give them good explanations, because companies, I mean, see, like us as consultants, we are not decision makers. We don't actually hire you for a job. At the end, the companies are hiring. And from my experience for the last 8 years, what I see is companies want to have people that would stay in their organization, because they are investing to those people. They are making sure that, I mean, they are spending money on those people in terms of onboardings, in terms of trainings, and time is money. So they are team leaders, they are managers, they are investing in these people. And if that person leaves in 6 months, in 1 year, it it's not going to be the break even with the cost that I mean, they wouldn't receive what they have invested. So for the companies, it's very important to have someone that they can trust, that the person is going to stay. So make sure you explain why you changed every job. Especially, it could be life is like different for everyone. So it might be you changed a lot of countries, that you changed a lot of job, or you got better offers from other companies also. But just make sure you tell them in the interview in a good way, in without, of course, telling anything negative regarding to your previous companies. That wouldn't be professional. But make sure you're giving them the right message, that you will be a good asset in their company and you will stay. And then getting there, of course, it's again obvious, but if you might be running late, I'm from Istanbul. The traffic there is it's amazing that you have to leave for 10 minutes commute 40 minutes earlier, but you can be late. It's fine. Just give them a phone call and just tell them that you're coming late. But of course, in an ideal world, try not to be late. All right. So during the interview, so yeah, don't panic. It's quite like common thing to say. Try to be calm. Of course, like it's important to understand that it's I mean, the person in front of you wants to hire someone, and then you're actually having a conversation, and also like you are making a negotiation for your own end as well. So if they want to hire you, they have to impress you as well. So of course, in many cases, that if you are, let's say, like not in many cases, but if you're not working at the moment, if you're looking for a job, like let's say really desperately, then you might have a bit more tension on your shoulders. But still, it will not help you. Just take it as a normal conversation and be yourself, and just tell them, like look them in the eye, and tell them what you want, what you have done in a good way. Calmer you are, the better, and smile. It's very important. And first impressions count. From the moment you walk into the room, you need to be selling yourself. That's true. Confidence is the key. That's also true. But too much confidence is a step back. So you also, this depends on the position. For example, if you're applying for a sales role, you want to show confidence, because salespeople, one of the things that they want is someone who will pick up the phone and call that person. But on the other hand, if you show too much confidence, they might feel the role might be jeopardized, and they might be also reluctant to offer you, because they might see some conflicts in the midterm, long term. So, of course, it's important to show confidence, but you should balance it quite well. And of course, it's really important in terms of first impressions. Like when they enter to the room, um, look them in the eye, just stand up and, well, I would say shake hands these days, no. But make sure that you pay all the attention and you're there and you're in the room with all your focus on this conversation. Answering the questions. This is really important. When you are asked a question, you should um, you should make sure that you are giving the answer of that specific question, because sometimes we might just give extra information, get lost in the details, and you might find yourself giving unnecessary details from your previous experiences, and then it might end up you like over talking and over explaining yourself. You don't need that. Just I like the star technique, which is you when you're asked, for example, that they ask you to give an example of a situation where you demonstrated leadership. So you explain them the situation. This happened, and then I needed to my task. For example, my task. I wasn't a manager, but I was a supervisor, or my manager wasn't there, so I was the most senior in the team. The action I took is this, and then the result came out in this way. That's all. If you practice this technique, it would help you a lot in terms of like to structure your speech. And then, of course, ask questions. So at the end of the interview, you have to ask intelligent questions. How do you ask intelligent questions? You practice the job description. You prepare yourself with the job description in advance, and then, of course, depending on the position, you come up with relevant questions. Of course, you would know it from your past experiences, but it's really important to have an active interview, not passive, not just answering the questions. You have to also demand. You have to ask them what you will be doing exactly. Like you have to make sure you understand it and make comments after you understand it about how you can actually be an asset to the company. And finally, after the interview, um, the feedback. So it's really important that you reach to the interviewer, write you write him or her an email, or you I don't know, write a LinkedIn message. It was nice to meet you. Like I really enjoyed our conversation. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Or even going one step further, I see this job fit because I have this qualifications. I think I can do this. For me, the pros and cons of this job is this. I really think that I might be a good fit. I hope to hear from you soon. Blah blah. So just for a short feedback, and just for a short feedback from your side, because the interviewer, like us, for example, when we are also like getting prepared to interview you. So it's not only from your side. In our company, for example, we are sometimes video recording ourselves doing interviews, and then our superiors, they come and check if we are asking the right questions, if we are in a good body language, if we are explaining ourselves well, explaining our clients or our own company well. So it's important that you also reach to the interviewers, to the consultants, even though they don't get back to you very fast, to ask for a feedback. Just make it as a conversation. Um, it's really a dialogue. So just make sure you reach out to them as much as they reach out to you. All right. So here is our website. No, I mean, also you can send your resume here, that you can upload your resume. It's really important that you upload it here because of the GDPR reasons, that nowadays we have to get your consent, your permission to open even your resumes. So with this website, you give us that consent. And and then, of course, like I will be explaining more questions now. I will check them one by one, but feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any further questions. All right. So, all right. I'm checking the questions from the beginning, I think. Okay, we have 25 minutes for the questions. Okay. So here, okay, I hope you could hear me. I just saw that not everybody could hear. Um, so architecture, is it included on one of the other sectors? Humanitarian sector or architecture? I mean, architecture is a sector that we are working with under our engineering department. It's also quite, I mean, quite common, but I wouldn't say that I'm the right person. I'm not the right person to give you an information, um, about this specific sector, because it's not really one of the demanded most popular sectors in terms of languages. So I think that if you write me, Oscar, from the LinkedIn, I can contact you with the right contact that they would give you more information. But it would be local market. It wouldn't be international market, because architecture is not the area that I'm very strong with. Um, for Japanese market, so Japanese speakers, we have some companies we are working with for Japanese language, and it's I mean, as I said, it can be. I've worked with Japanese speakers, let's say, for customer service roles and for finance positions, and it's quite unique language to find here in Barcelona. But yes, there are. I mean, I would say maybe not as big as French market or German market, but of course there are positions that companies are looking for in Japanese language. Of course, it's not very common. You have to be patient, but in the short term. Also for Japanese, I have to tell you about this part of the recruitment, that companies they are looking for work permit, and of course some of them are providing, but Spain has a limit, like in terms of salary. If it's less than 40,000 euros, it's not, I think that most of the time it's not eligible to get the work permit, and also it takes 3-4 months in total to complete the NIE and also social security and papers to work, that kind of procedures. So it might be a bit challenging to find a job directly with Japanese without a work permit right away. You have to be patient. There are companies that they provide it, especially if they are looking for Japanese, which is a rare language. They should be able to provide you. Um, uh, in Spanish, can you assume you need to speak Spanish? Okay, when vacancies are written in Spanish, can you assume you need to speak Spanish for the role? Or should you still give it a shot and upload your CV in English? Yes, I would say yes, because um, unfortunately, in Spain, not every recruiter speaks English very well. So even sometimes I see a lot of published posts that contable con alemán, for example, which is they don't look for Spanish, but they publish it in Spanish. If you understand it, just publish your resume, and then they will find a way to reach out to you. I mean, of course, it's not like 100% ideal, but yeah, I wouldn't say no to that. So yeah, apply. The recruitment process appears to have slowed down greatly due to COVID-19. Is it recommended to already be based in Barcelona before applying? Can you touch on this, Scott? So I would say um, no. I mean, at the beginning of COVID-19, around February, March, even April, because the NIE offices, like the Social Security and the Spanish kind of identity offices, they were closed here. So we were on lockdown. So we weren't hiring people, we weren't able to hire people from abroad because they wouldn't be able to work here, and we didn't know when the office, these offices will be back back. We will open back. So it was actually not recommended to apply, but at the moment, um, just go right away. I mean, most of the recruitments I do, I'm bringing people from France, I'm bringing people from London, I mean, right now I'm bringing someone from Australia. So yeah, now it's not a big deal. It takes average 1 month to get the NIE, even though you're a European citizen. But it's not a big deal. If you're the right candidate, they wait 1 month. It's okay. By the way, in Spain, the notice periods are 15 days usually. So 1 month is actually double for here. But well, it's not a big problem. So yes, you can apply to jobs in Barcelona before coming here for sure. Are cover letters appreciated here? What about sector for international relations affairs professional? So cover letters, yes, of course. If you, especially big companies, they when you apply to their from their website, they also put you an option that you have to actually submit a cover letter there. But I would say, I mean, at the for all the positions, you have to write a unique cover letter. Don't generalize one cover letter and send it to everyone because it's really obvious. We understand it that it's a general cover letter. If you want to do it, do it. I would say do it well, do it properly. Um, yeah. And for international relations affairs professional, um, so it's again not very common sector that I'm working for, but if you change the international relations to um, I don't know, account management, that you're working with different countries at the same time, that you're making sure the accounts that the companies are working um, are on tact and so on, then might be. But international relations affairs, I have never worked a position in that area for languages. But I mean, if you have languages, if you are willing to find a position here, write me also on LinkedIn that we can for sure talk more in detail. I have to see your background. So in your experience, are native speakers much more likely selected than candidates with great but not native language skills for customer service? Um, it depends. If you are, it depends on the country. I don't want to do any kind of discrimination, but some countries, they prefer native language. Some countries, and it doesn't matter. So yeah, it's I mean, of course, if you have almost native, I think it's okay. But for certain countries, they want to have a certain accent, native accent, also, unfortunately. Are international law degrees valued? I have a law degree license in the US, but don't have a Spanish EU equivalent. Can I still add value to EU Barcelona companies, or is my degree meaningless? Well, of course it's not. Um, in if I worked with lawyers, not as a lawyer position, but there are a lot of positions in legal departments of companies that you can apply, and you would have a good legal well, you will be a good legal advisor. So it's not meaningless at all. Don't for sure apply for legal positions of the companies. It's quite common. Also, there are a lot of companies that they are working in key account management departments, that they are making, for example, contracts globally. So they need lawyers to consult to when they are doing these kind of contracts. So yeah, low is good. It's you can convert it here. Before submitting an application, is it okay to ask if the company uses ATS so that necessary adjustments can be made on the CV before applying? Thank you. Um, I don't think so. I mean, just I just when you're applying, just apply. I mean, of course, you have to create your CV depending on the position and the company, but I wouldn't say you should ask before you apply because they might not answer. So maybe you can investigate. But yeah, I think that you should apply, and then during the interview or so on, that you can add your background qualifications and so on. But yeah, I wouldn't ask. I would apply because they're receiving a lot of applications on top, and I don't know if it would be if they would have time to answer to you. Why is social media privacy a method? Why is my free time important for my job? I mean, I wouldn't say social media like in terms of Instagram and Facebook. I would say more LinkedIn. And from our end, for us, it doesn't matter at all. I wouldn't say that it's important at all from my end, especially. But you should know that we are in the middle between candidates and clients. So some clients may check your social media. Um, it's if it's open, and then if it's published, then there's no obstacle that they won't check it. But we don't check it. It's not our way of doing search and selection at all. Just as an advice. So, ex-recruiter here. Hi, colleague. How is the commission structure like in Spain? Is it rewarding to work in the recruitment industry here? No. So, as you're a recruiter before, you should know that we work with the salaries. So, in Spain, salaries are lower than rest of Europe. So, if it goes by commission, you do the math. So how is the market right now in Barcelona? Which sectors are hiring? Well, I explained it a bit in the presentation. So, I mean, I don't want to go into details again, but I would say go for shared service centers, IT hubs, international hubs from my end. In general, IT is growing a lot because of all the new technologies rising, and also e-commerce, e-commerce, and medical devices and gaming, independent from my sector, but that's the areas. Um, Wait, I'm checking the time. So, hi Gizem, quick question. And older people, I am a chief financial officer in London, 50 years old, and would like to resettle in Barcelona. Realistically, should I assume it would be much harder for me to find a job in Barcelona? No, not at all. Just send me your resume on LinkedIn if you can find me. And 50 years old is not old at all. Just saying like older people, just because you said it. But the only obstacle would be not your age, but maybe your salary expectations, because London and Barcelona, it's quite different. Check some websites that with the cost of living, and if you imagine yourself working for a lower salary in Barcelona, just let me know. I would be happy to be in contact with you. Is it a big limit for foreigners if you have just the study visa and you need a work permission after you finish the study? Not a big limit, but it's a limit. So I would say you can find, my suggestion would be apply to big companies. There are really, really good companies here like Amazon, PepsiCo, and I mean, they have kind of like intern programs that you enter, and then they can sponsor you for the visa. But as I said, in Spain, there are some limitations with the certain salaries, that you have to have a certain salary to be able to be eligible to get the work permit. But I've seen a lot of people getting it. I mean, I'm Turkish, just to be also clear there that I was also sponsored here. So yeah, you can do it. Just it's a limit, but not an ultimate obstacle. So you should go for it. Hello, thank you for your help. I would like to switch my career into the legal compliance path. I worked as a lawyer practitioner in Italy until 2 years ago. Then I switched to customer service accountancy. And when I leave Italy, I have a strong background on legal, but it's from 2 years ago. How we can explain this on CV, and what is the is strategies to take for a career switch? Okay, so let's just go like a bit general. Like if you want to change your career in general, if it's a totally irrelevant area, you should expect some salary decrease. So if you're changing from accountancy to legal or legal to accountancy, it's it might be a little bit like frustrating in terms of the salary, your current salary and your expectations. But if you have experience 2 years ago as a lawyer and then now you want to go back to the law sector, you can there and in your resume you should have an explanation at the beginning. You should just like write a summary of yourself, of your expectations. What do you want to do? So you can just explain it well over there. But then, of course, if you want to talk more in detail, we can talk later when if you reach out to me also on LinkedIn, I would be happy to talk to you more in detail. Where is the best place to look for design jobs, architecture, 3D design? Yeah, I would say again, uh, it depends also if you're looking for jobs with Spanish or without Spanish. So if you write me, I can, if it's like local jobs, I can contact you to my colleagues in the engineering department. If not, go to architecture sectors with international startups. There are a lot of them in Spain. You'll find, and they are really good companies. The pay is better and they have really good side benefits. Of course, not as secure as a very big company, but I mean, they have very good advantages also that you can benefit from. What about the social sectors? I know IT is very well demanded, but the humanitarian sectors are important as well. Yes, of course they are. But humanitarian sectors, they are not usually working with us because we are a B2B company. So when we work with other organizations, we we of course charge them a certain amount. So humanitarian companies, they prefer not they prefer to do the recruitment on their own, which lacks me the data that they have. I'm usually I'm giving you an overall information about the Barcelona market, but NGOs, humanitarian sectors, they are very important, as you said, but I don't have that much information about them. That's why I'm not mentioning them that often. Um, how much impact do web interviews have compared to in-person interviews on the way body language and confidence are perceived from the company's recruiter? Very good question. In the past, I'm working with international sector, so more than 60% of the positions I'm working, we are doing we're doing interviews over online platforms. But most of the time, our clients, they were flying these people as a final interview to see them face to face, because I think it's important to see the person and to see the candidates in person. Also for the candidates to see the office environment they're going to work in. But these days, it's not very possible because it's quite, I mean, it's not recommended. So it's inevitable. We have to accept this fact. Of course, they are not the same, but you can also have a good impact with web interviews. I haven't mentioned it, but um, you should have a solid like background, a white background. You can use, there are a lot of like applications on the platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, that you can make your background blurred, or you can put some like a different like an office behind your back, and make sure that you're well prepared. You have I mean, dress code is still important, and then you have your microphone working, your camera working. We are doing interviews when people are in their cars, like when the car is moving. We are doing interviews when they are in a cafe. I mean, I understand like sometimes you don't have time to be at home, but give us another time. Just don't do it during when you're doing other things. It's you should show the other side that you're prepared, as we are prepared all the time. We're like we are checking your resume, we are seeing if you are fitting or not. So we are making sure that you are you we are well received from your side also. Yes, again, any tips for online interviews? I was telling the same. Just make sure everything works. It's very important, and um, just smile and try to give the energy, try to explain the energy to the other side as much as possible. Of course, it's not as the same as the presential interviews, but now you don't have a disadvantage or advantage over anyone else. Everyone is doing online interviews these days. How we can access the executive position pay table data. From our website, you can find it. If you enter there with the salary surveys, unfortunately they're in Spanish, but you can have access there, or just ping me and I will guide you. Okay, we have 3 minutes left. Should we write the CV in English, Spanish, or depends on the company? I would say if you're applying for a local position, in Spanish is more than okay. But if you're, of course, applying for an international company, just take into consideration that HR or any hiring manager, director that you will be interviewing with may not speak English. So, sorry, may not speak Spanish. So make sure that for international companies, either submit both or use the English version, which is more generalized. In which language should we send our CV to your website? If you're applying to my positions, any kind of positions with languages, always in English, because 90% of my clients, they don't speak Spanish here. Do you think it's better to have a picture on the CV? Do you think a design with colors CV is better than a regular boring one? Yes, I mean, designed with colors, it's always better, but also like it depends on what you're applying to. If you're applying to a marketing content position, I would say go for something a bit more interesting, that's showing your design and some, like, I don't know, colors and how you use the graphic designs and everything. And regarding the picture, I would say in Spain, everybody's putting it. It depends on the country. I mean, in Germany, for example, and they put a huge photo at the beginning, which is also like not very common here. And in United States, it's discrimination. So it depends. I wouldn't say that put a picture photo or not. But here, I would say most of the CVs, I see a photo on them. All right, so one last. What's the best way to reach out to the recruiter if the offer only shows the name but not the email? Is it LinkedIn the right channel? Yes, of course. And I mean, we in our case, for example, we have our names, surnames at pagepersonal.es. If you want to, it's like a standard email that you can also email us. We don't have any dots in between, so just name, surname. Mine, for example, Gizem Baykal at pagepersonal.es. So you can reach from there. All right, so I think um, we are done with the time. I think that we have more questions. They told me that I can enter later and then answer them all. I will figure it out and I will try to answer your questions. Just for information, there are 67 more questions, and then I might not answer them all like today, but I will make sure I'm reaching out to all of you. So I will stop sharing. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a pleasure, and hope to meet you one day, also face to face, if you're looking for a job. Very, very much appreciated. All right.